I used to live in a place called Mount Pleasant, a little village, but now I live in a place called Merthyrvale. The story is about when I lived in Mount Pleasant as a young man. At that time, it was Christmas Day, 1971. I got up from bed about 10 o'clock, went out, washed, went down then to my pigeon cot, let my pigeons out for a little fly, and then I come back up. I was in a hurry to get up to the club, because in the club, every Christmas, there was cheap beer. And what I mean cheap beer is, it was 1 shilling and 6 a pint, and that's 7.5 pence in our money now. But for Christmas, they would drop it to 6 pence a pint. I'll explain that. There was 40 sixpences in a pound coin. So I could go up to the club and have 40 pints for £1. So you can see why I was excited to go up the pub. But there was one other club called the Dog and Rabbit, and they were selling the beer at 1 penny a pint. That 1 penny a pint meant that they could have 244 pints of beer for £1. You can see why everybody wanted to go to the clubs on Christmas Day. But that beer would be for 1 week, so you'd have it for the whole week. But then my story starts now. Come up from the pigeon cot, getting dressed to go up the club about 11:20. The club was called the Merthyrvale Workingmen's Club. I was dressed, ready to go, and all of a sudden my nephew comes in, Christmas Day. He had a little pellet gun, and I used to take him everywhere. Him and his friends, I used to take him on walks. So they wanted me now to take him for a walk. Now imagine now I wanted to go up the club. It was half a mile walk to the club. So I thought, oh, I'm not going to go. I said, I'm going to go up the club. And he started crying. So I thought, oh, well, I give in. So I took him for a walk. Down the river, we went over the River Taff. He had a couple of shots of different things. I was hurrying him, mind you. When we got to the, what they call, it was a whirlpool up there, I come back. And on the way back, I heard a shout, and somebody shouting for help. When I looked into the river, there was a woman hanging onto a rock, and she was screaming, and she was in the middle of the river. So I looked, I thought, well, it's easier to get her from the other side. About 30 yards down was a bridge. So I ran down with me and David, and we crossed the bridge, ran over the other side. I left David on the bank, and I jumped in. It was up to my chest, and the water, you can imagine, was freezing, and she was crying, so I caught hold of her and got her out. So I put her on the bank, and she was shivering and watercolor and crying. Took my coat off, put it on her, and then I took her home to her husband. When her husband saw me, he thanked me for doing it. So I said, that's all right, don't worry, innit? But the one thing he asked me, he said, do me a favour, never tell anybody about this, what happened to my wife. Because he said what it is, the doctor gave her tablets, and these tablets are too strong, and she don't know what she's doing. And he said, sometimes she's in the house, she don't know where she's going. As I said, when I heard her in the river, you think she went down there to commit suicide, innit? But she was in the middle, and then she realised what was wrong, and she was crying. So I would assume something like it happened, or the pills are taking too much effect. So, right, I told her I wouldn't tell nobody. So when I went home to my house now, me and David come in, my mother could see I was soaking now. So David said to my mother, Grandpa, Terry jumped in the river and got a woman. So I said, well, no, I said I fell and slipped into the river. So my mother looked at David, he pulled a woman out. I said, no, I fell in, man. So she believed me in it. So I never even told my mother. Went up the club then, and we had a great time over Christmas. And you can imagine, like I said, 40 pints for £1. It didn't cost much money to have beer up there.